Welcome back to another video, guys. This time I'm going to be doing another technical breakdown on both Vasyl Lomachenko and Guillermo Rigondeaux ahead of their super fight on December 9th. So let's do this. First, we're going to take a look at Guillermo Rigondeaux, who I believe to be the best pure boxer in the sport today. And the first thing I want to take a look at is his use of the lead hand. Rigondeaux uses his lead hand to measure distance, occupy his opponent's guard, distract his opponent by obstructing their vision, and controlling the space between him and his opponent. So we see here in this clip, Rigondeaux keeps sticking his lead hand out in front of Nonito Donaire and checking his lead hand. This is not only an effective way to measure distance, but it also establishes control over the space between him and his opponent. This means in order for Donaire to get to Rigondeaux, he has to first get past his lead hand. Notice how Donaire reacts to Rigo's lead hand. It is effectively occupying his guard as well as giving him something to think about. One of Rigondeaux's more signature uses of his lead hand is using it as a probe to scout out his opponent's offense. In other words, once Rigondeaux feels his lead hand is challenged, he automatically prepares to defend for the incoming punch. So here we see Donaire slap down Rigondeaux's lead hand and attempt to establish a dominant outside angle to launch an attack. And since this is an orthodox versus a southpaw match, that's exactly what he needs to do to launch an attack safely against the southpaw. And you see Rigo doesn't even need to see the punch coming. He doesn't even need to react to the punch. As soon as his lead hand is challenged, he knows an attack is coming and he automatically changes levels and steps back at an angle. And of course, we can't really finish talking about Rigondeaux without talking about his counterpunching ability. Rigondeaux sets up a lot of his counterpunches with the very lead hand probe that I just explained. So let's look at this situation right here. As we can see, Rigondeaux sticks out his lead hand and probes Nonito Donaire. And then as soon as Donaire challenges his hand, Rigondeaux ducks down and then counters Donaire's hook with a hook of his own. So let's look at that again. Rigondeaux sticks out his lead hand, Donaire challenges it, and then Rigondeaux immediately changes levels. Donaire throws a hook, and then Rigondeaux counters that hook with a lead hook of his own. Absolutely brilliant boxing by Guillermo Rigondeaux. So here we're going to see Guillermo Rigondeaux against Hisashi Amagasa. This time he's going to set up a counter left hand off of his probing lead hand. So we see Rigondeaux is going to stick out his lead hand, and as soon as it's challenged, once again, he's going to change levels the same exact way he just did against Nonito Donaire, but this time he's going to use it to slip Amagasa's right hand and then counter over the top with a power straight left hand, which just misses. It is also extremely important to note that as soon as Guillermo Rigondeaux misses this counter left hand, he uses it as an opportunity to take control of Amagasa's head and smother him, therefore not allowing Amagasa to counter him off of that left hand. Because you see, the best fighters will not allow their opponents to capitalize off of their mistakes. You should always be trying to control your opponent as soon as you make a mistake. Now we're going to take a look at the Ukrainian genius Vasyl Lomachenko, who I believe to be the greatest amateur boxer of all time and quite possibly the best pound-for-pound boxer today. Now, when most people talk about Lomachenko, they usually bring up how he has incredible footwork and moves as if he's in the Matrix. I'm going to attempt to briefly explain the core fundamentals by which he does this. Okay, so I've drawn this diagram to help illustrate the fundamental use of angles in boxing. Let's pretend the boxer in red is Lomachenko. Notice I drew him in a southpaw stance. The boxer in blue is his opponent. The yellow lines represent the directions Lomachenko can take to attack his opponent, otherwise known as establishing an angle. It is widely known in boxing that attacking at an angle is almost always better than attacking in a straight line. I also want to add that establishing these angles works best when your opponent is coming at you, Otherwise, you'd just be activating your opponent's own use of angles on yourself, if that makes any sense. But before this video gets too complicated, I just want to focus on the use of the outside angle in a southpaw versus orthodox matchup. Basically, the boxer in red moving along the yellow line all the way on the right to get the outside angle and establish an outside angle on the blue boxer's lead hand, while opening up an angle to attack with either hand. So here we see Lomachenko shoot a double jab and step over to his right in order to get on the outside of Rocky Martinez's lead hand. So as he does this, he gets into the outside, and as soon as he does, he shoots the left hand right to the body and is already in a safe angle. So again, he steps as he's throwing the jab, establishing the outside angle, and then shoots the left hand to the body. Take a look at this clip. Here we're going to see Lomachenko land the jab, shoot the left hand, and as it misses, he uses that to pivot off and establish an outside angle on Rocky Martinez again, and hit him with both hands very quickly. And Rocky Martinez did a very big mistake here. He shouldn't have turned on the spot as soon as Lomachenko established that outside angle on him. He should have entered the vacated space that Vasyl Lomachenko just stepped out of in order to get back to safety. Here in this clip, Lomachenko uses a jab to get Pirapinho to cover up into a high guard defense, and there Lomachenko is able to easily just glide over onto the outside angle and set up these left hands and right hooks easily onto Pirapinho. And Pirapinho has absolutely no understanding of what he's supposed to do in this situation, and simply just stands there covered up in a high guard, which is absolutely what you're not supposed to do. And even worse, as soon as Lomachenko gets that outside angle on him, he turns on the spot and faces Lomachenko, essentially just walking into that left hand and right hook right there. And then Lomachenko stays defensively responsible and fades away from the counter right hand from Pirapinho. Beautiful boxing from Lomachenko. Lomachenko is going to feint the left hand and step over at the same time, establishing an angle, and is going to hit Kasaicha with his left hand. Here we're going to take a look at Lomachenko's usage of guard removal, which is another way for him to set up his punches, especially against opponents that like to shell up in a high guard defense. This is also a skill that you don't see used by many boxers today. So here we're going to see Lomachenko use his right glove to forcibly remove Pirapinho's guard, and then he controls him with his left arm as he's on the ropes so he can set up that right hook, and then once again remove his guard with his right hand and so he can hit him with the left hand. Remove his glove, hold him with his left hand, and then remove his glove again here so he could set up all of those punches. Beautiful boxing from Lomachenko. And I think there's no better way to end this video than with this clip right here. Watch as Kasaicha just stands in the corner with a high guard and just eats a 3-punch combination from Lomachenko. And Lomachenko is able to just simply clown him. He shifts stance here, like goes into orthodox. It gets an outside angle on Kasaicha, then switches back to southpaw and gets an outside angle again from the other side, and then does it again by switching to orthodox, hitting an outside angle. I mean, this guy is just shifting from outside angle to outside angle, and there's just no way you're going to win the fight if you're going to allow the guy to do something like that. I mean, this is why it's so important to use distance as defense in boxing. You can't simply just stand there and try to block your opponent's attacks with just a high guard. You have to move your feet. I mean, this is why Lomachenko is able to do this to guys, because they simply just stand there in front of him and try to block what he's got. But not only that, who do you see doing these kinds of things to guys in boxing today? This guy's movement is special. I really want to see what he's got in the future. As always, thank you all for watching the video. Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you like what I do. I really appreciate everybody who watches these videos, and definitely let me know in the comments below who you think is going to win the fight. This definitely won't be my last video on these two. I'll probably make another one against other southpaw opponents, since both fighters are southpaws. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.